Hi everybody, welcome to episode 8 of Satellite 664. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Kaz Tagyan, and as always, I'm joined by Mr. Steve Loopy Newhouse from Romford, Essex. Good morning, sir.
Is it? No, it's evening over here, Kaz.
What time is it over there?
Oh, no, try me on that way. It's 10 to 11 p.m.
Oh, you're still the day before. Oh well, it's Tuesday the 5th of November here. It's a public holiday. I'm not at work and just enjoying the sunshine and talking to you, good sir. So here we are, episode 8. Now we were,
Number 8 already.
sorry,
Number 8 already.
number 8 already. Number 8. My lucky number, by the way. We were due to have a special guest today to discuss, to sort of put the finishing touches or the closing chapter on our 1983 series, but unfortunately, our guest wasn't available today due to unforeseen circumstances. So we'll have him back on at a later date. But it's just you and me today, and it's an interesting show. It's what I would call
So
a
it's news round.
as a news round. That's right. This is
News round.
this is going to be an eclectic collection of interesting yet random news points that we're going to talk about. So
Yeah, we won't bore you for too long on this one.
no, no, it'll be well. Knowing us, we say it's going to be short, sharp, and to the point. But we'll probably end up talking for an hour anyway. So, all right,
It's what we do.
that's what we do. All right, where do you want to? Let's go. Let's blow the whistle and kick off.
Right, today I heard that the Cart and Horses looks like it's now going to be closed until probably Easter.
Wow.
The reason being is that building work's had to stop because there's a brand new, well, they did say brand new. There's a thing called TfL, which is Transport for London. They're opening up what they call the Elizabeth line, and that runs from where I am in Romford, and eventually it'll make its way like one line all the way down to Heathrow, which, like for me, is going to be brilliant. One train all the way to go and do some spotting. Love it. What's happened is that where Castro's builders have been building down at the basement, the wall between the pub cellar and the other side of that wall is the actual track for this new railway. Now, whether it's a matter of subsidence or it's a simple case of the wall needs strengthening because the rattling might pull the whole pub down, the TfL have actually stopped the building work.
Wow.
So until that's been sorted out, the pub now remains closed again. All building has stopped, and it looks like an Easter opening.
Easter. Steve, could you briefly explain to us subsidence, the whole concept of subsidence?
But subsidence basically it's a collapse. Imagine like like sort of building on clay that could eventually sort of slip away. If you're building on rock, it's not a problem. But I don't know what the foundations are like underneath Castro's pub. But if it's anything like some of the old East End buildings, a lot of that was sort of built on sort of sand and mud bank, and if something's not done now, there is the potential for the pub to sort of collapse onto the tracks, and you can imagine the chaos that will cause. So it's easy for TfL to go in there, get that supported now, and then like the work on the inside of the pub can continue.
So what's the estimated proximity of the wall of the pub to the actual line that they're building?
I don't know how thick those walls are. I can only estimate a guess of possibly 2 feet thick at the most.
2 feet thick.
This is not a lot. It's not a lot. Because they're supporting the weight of that whole wall up that side of the pub.
Wow.
And then now that Castro's been sort of digging down, there is nothing on the other side of the wall to support it.
Wow. Steve, I mean, for those who have been to the Cart and Horses, could you orientate us as to which side? Is it on the main entrance side? Is it, or what used to be the old main entrance side? Is it on the
Imagine you're staring at the door of the pub where everybody used to go in. So you go through that door and you've got the bar directly in front of you.
yeah,
It's that wall to the far left, the wall that, I mean, if you came out of the pub and turned right, you go over the bridge where the rail
right.
runs underneath. So it's that wall.
Wow. And also too, I guess the other issue that comes to mind is noise. What how will the rail line impact the actual pub as far as noise and vice versa?
Well, from what I understand, it's all going to be soundproofed. Well,
Okay.
it has to be. So I don't think. Well, I don't think the people in the trains will complain too much about the noise.
Yeah, true. Very true. No, I meant more vice versa. I meant more the other way.
The trains.
How it,
My concern more than anything is the vibration of the trains on that wall. And this, I think, is why TfL have gone. Yeah, we've got to stop. We've got to do something about this.
very interesting. Well, we'll watch that development with great
Yes,
interest.
yeah. I mean,
I
once
mean,
I find out more, I'll let you know.
I mean,
But
Easter's only well, Easter's only what, less than 6 months away now. It's
well, it's crazy how these things work. But by the time Easter comes, Burfest will be out of the way,
out of the way.
leading seamlessly. See how I did that. Leading seamlessly onto a little mention I'd like to make about Burfest.
Yes.
Right, Burfest is on Saturday, the 7th of March, September, shoot me now. Right, now, we still have a few tickets for this, and what I'd like to do is read out the list of bands. We have Kane, Absolver, Titan, Air Force, Elixir, and Blaze Bailey headlining.
Wow. Blaze
Now,
Bailey.
as I said, there are still a few tickets available. Well, it's quite a few, a lot more than we'd hoped. So this is a little shout out to anybody that's interested. I know it's a long way to come, but people are actually coming over from the States.
Oh,
Got people coming over from Canada, all over Europe. Which, I mean, these people come every year, and it's always great to see them. So good to see Mika and Daniel and those guys again. But the tickets are available from burfest.co.uk. £16.50.
wow. Excellent.
Which,
I
I
mean,
mean, for all those bands, that's a nothing price. There's a bar. I'm not going to offer food because we won't have any. We probably won't eat ourselves because we're so busy. But there's a bar.
so to put into perspective, the Cart and Horses opens Easter to 2020,
Yep. It's
and
around about
yeah,
April,
that's right. And Burfest is a month before that.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, yes.
there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in that with those
Well,
sort of
we were
events.
kind of hoping that I was kind of hoping that the cart would actually be up and running before Burfest to try and use that as a meeting point. Maybe even go down and have a bit of a celebration the night before, and then go on to do the cart the following Burfest the following day. But
How many tickets?
as it stands, that's not going to happen now.
How many more tickets are available for Burfest?
Say again, sorry.
How many tickets are available as it stands for Burfest?
I believe how many tickets are left? From what at least 100.
At
At
least
least
100?
100.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, what I'll do is that I will get a bit more information from Andy, my partner, because we've not been given any figures from the venue itself as to how many they have left. But I know we have around about 100.
okay, so,
Andy's done quite well.
okay.
But we now need to know what they've got left, put the two figures together.
And there'd be a lot of people who don't actually know much or anything about Burfest. Now, we do and we will eventually do a full or a longer show about it, or we'd hope to anyway. But just briefly, let's talk about what Burfest is and what it's designed for.
Yeah, Burfest. It was started 4 years ago Well, this is our fourth year. Next year is our fourth year. Um, and it's basically it's in memory of Clive Burr.
Mm.
And the idea is because Clive died from multiple sclerosis, we donate money to MS Action.
Mm.
This is supported by Clive's wife, Mimi.
Yeah.
So the idea is to try and raise as much money as we possibly can
Now,
for MS Action.
yeah, and MS Action was the organisation that basically offered Clive the her services towards the end of his life. Correct?
Yes, yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah. And then, as I said, like Mimi is she's backing us 100%. So
Yeah.
yes, it's good.
It is a very debilitating disease, um, and anybody who knows somebody afflicted with MS could attest to that. It has profound effects on every aspect of one's health. So, and the end stages can be extremely bad. So, because it is a progressive degeneration of the nervous system of the brain and spinal cord and everything else that connects, which is the whole body. So,
Mm.
it's a significant disease with a significant sort of burden of morbidity, and this is a terrific cause. Burfest is a very good cause, and I think
Absolutely.
I
You
think
know,
everybody,
and
not just sorry.
now you can understand why we would like to sell as many tickets as possible. You know, this is all for an extremely good cause.
Yeah, and really, we'd really like to encourage everybody, all Maiden fans, particularly Maiden fans in the UK, and particularly Maiden fans in the London area, London Essex sort of area, to get out and support this.
Yeah,
It's a great cause. I mean, there's people coming, as you said, from the United States. There's
yeah,
people coming from Europe, and it's great to see because yes, they are coming for the music, but they also have an appreciation of just how sad and quite serious this disease actually is. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, all right. I mean, Clive was he became not a role model. That's the wrong sort of word. But if people talk about MS in the
mm,
music business,
mm,
he is one of the names that gets mentioned
yeah,
frequently.
yeah. It's again, if you're in the London area, if you're in the anywhere in the UK, go and support this cause. It's you're going to get to see some incredible bands. I mean, I love Air Force, and I mean Blaze is the crown and the jewel of the whole thing, really. So go and
Well, I mean, not only you've got Blaze as the like, Maiden connection, yeah. Air Force, Dougie Sampson
yeah, of
on
course,
drums.
of course, of course.
And you've also got Titan. Now, Titan, the bass player, is Kev Riddles, who
Mm,
used to be with Angel Witch, who used to play at the Camden Music Machine
yeah,
back in the early days with Maiden, back in sort of '79.
yeah.
You know,
It's
so
all.
there's all these little connections.
That's what I was
But
going
you
to say.
wait until next year. Oh yeah, we were already working on 2021,
Wow.
and I can't at the moment say for definite, so I won't mention any band names at all. But if they stick to it, if they stick to the agreement, then 2021 it's going to blow your mind. It really will blow
Wow,
your mind.
wow, wow. Well, we'll wait with anticipation for that for sure. That's excellent.
But I'm sure this is why Andy brought me in because of the contacts I've got.
Now, Loopy,
Yes, dear.
I was looking, I was looking at my diary the other day, and I was just jotting something down, like a function that I've got, and I saw the date November 9, Saturday, November 9, and it sort of triggered a thought about that date, and then you and I spoke about that date a bit later,
Yeah.
and I came to the realization that it is the 40th anniversary of a certain release.
Now, what could that be?
I don't know. It's got It's got a red cover.
Right.
Not many copies were pressed. Um,
Was it an EP?
I think so, and it was recorded by a band who, instead of partying on New Year's Eve, were in the recording studio on New Year's Eve of 1978, going into 79.
Yeah, I was there.
Go on then.
Yes. Yeah. What Kaz is talking about is the Soundhouse tapes. Obviously, Iron Maiden's EP released on the 9th of November 1979, which is 40 years old. This coming Saturday,
God,
and that's just mind blowing. It really is mind blowing
insane.
to think how cold it was. Uh, Driving up there wasn't so bad. Driving up to Cambridge, roads were sort of fairly clear, but overnight, the first night we were there, the snow came down and there was at least a foot on the ground. Um, I remember Paul Cairns. A lot of people have gone, was he there? Wasn't he there? Yes, he was there. Why the band have never acknowledged that, I don't know.
Mm.
But yes, Paul was there. He curled up in his van. He had his own dog. I've forgotten the dog's name, but the dog went everywhere with him. And he and the dog curled up in the back of his van, and that kept him warm all night. I slept in a sleeping bag on the floor in the studio. Deano called a nurse, and he disappeared somewhere. I mean, a couple of guys actually went back to the nurse's house and sort of slept on the floor there or something. Um, and me and Steve, I think, ended up on the floor in the studio. Um, I mean, obviously back in those days, there wasn't a lot of money about, so there was sort of cups of tea. You can make limitless cups of tea all day long.
Mm.
But I think we actually lived on bacon sandwiches because that's all we could afford.
Amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, it was. I mean, as I said, thinking back, Steve's gear was set up in one room, and although all three members of the band, so Dave, Steve, or four, I should say, Dave, Steve, Dougie, and Paul Cairns, all played in the studio together, but their equipment was in rooms scattered all over the place, so different sound effects and whatever. And it just, well, 40 years on, you know the result. You've heard it enough times. The band wanted to take the half-inch or the 2-inch tape with them, like the main tape. But we couldn't afford to buy it there and then. The studio wanted an extra 50 quid for it. So Steve said, well, look, I haven't got the money now. Give me like a week, 2 weeks. I'll get the money and I'll come back and I'll pick it up. And when he got up there, the guys in the studio obviously had no money either, and they ended up going over. They completely white taped another band,
Oh,
and
jeez.
we were gutted because it meant we couldn't put it in a decent studio or another studio to mix it or produce it. What we came away with, like the half-inch reel, was it.
Oh,
And we all, we all came away with their own sort of copies of the cassette, which cost us like, I think we all paid sort of about 3.5, 4 quid each for it. But yeah, it is what it is now. It's just frightening. 40 years ago this weekend.
and I bet it
It's,
doesn't. And I bet it doesn't even. It only. I know it's an old cliche, but I bet it only feels like yesterday.
I still remember a lot of it.
Hmm.
I do still remember a lot of it. I mean, the snow and it was so bloody cold.
Did you? So one of the amongst Iron Maiden collectors to have an original, genuine pressing of the Soundhouse tapes is by some looked on as the holy grail of collectibles. I believe you have an original
Yes,
pressing.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yours
Yeah.
was Go on.
I actually got my pressing it's only a couple of years ago because I had the original pressing, which I moved a few times, and all my singles disappeared.
Wow.
With every single I had disappeared. And I spoke to Keith Wilford, and he brought me a copy over from LA, and that sat in a plastic sleeve until my friend Darren Witt remembered to bring me the actual cover. So the chances are the cover is a reprint, the single is original.
Oh, okay. So the media, as it were, is original. The cover is a reprint. But
Yeah.
are those counterfeits or sort of non-original pressings? Are they still appropriate to that era, or have they been pressed, you know, 20, 30
But
years later?
since, yeah, I think they've been done since. Initially, well, there's always talk about I did 666 copies. It's absolute bollocks. Originally, I think there was 5,000 copies printed, and I think they sold out very, very quickly.
Mm.
And at the time, we were still doing some fairly small shows, and just as just out of curiosity, I went and had a look at my diary to see where we were the day it was released, November the 9th. Iron Maiden was supposed to have played the bandwagon, where Steve and myself went and took the original cassette, gave to Neil Kay, and he ended up playing it and playing it and playing it to the point where Prowler ended up number one in the heavy metal charts. And I know it says on Wikipedia that it was Steve and Dave that did that. It wasn't. It was me and Steve. Unless the band were actually sort of rehearsing or playing, everybody else had other things to do. And socially, we didn't get together that often.
That's
But I think like me sort of living closest to Steve, if ever I'd received a phone call, like, yeah, but if Steve wasn't at work and we were getting phone calls out of hours, they were coming to me. And I lived a 10-minute walk from Steve, so I'd take the call, walk round to Steve's house, get in his nan's car, go back to my house and phone these people back. Because that's how we had to do it.
that's great. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an interesting time of year. From from sort of September onwards, there's just this wave of anniversaries of albums being released and singles being released, and
yeah,
I think that's how they used to do it back then. It was the release season, and not just for Maiden, a lot of other bands as well
yeah.
used to
And
release.
as it turned out, I was saying that we ended up, we were supposed to have played these bandwagon. We ended up actually doing a gig in playing at a place called the 9 Volts Club in Aberavon in Wales. That's where we were, and I thought there might be something in my diary sort of mentioning our release of the EP. There's actually nothing there at all. All it
Well,
says is not bad gig, not many people.
that's, that's all you need to
And
say.
that's my diary note for 9th of November 1979.
That's great.
Truly historic day.
Yeah, well, 9th of November.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this show should well and truly be out by Saturday the 9th. So, by the time you watch this, uh, by the time this will be out, November 9th should well and truly be.
Well, it would be interesting because somebody actually said to me, or John Doofus, membership 001, he said to me, has anybody got anything planned? There was a celebration. And I went, not that I know of. So it would be interesting to find out in the comments below, um, yeah, if anything is actually planned for the anniversary of release of the Sandhouse tapes.
Yeah.
Would be interesting.
Well, look, here at Satellite 664, we're sort of celebrating by talking about it. So,
Yeah,
but be interesting to see what other people are doing as well for it.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Now, I was thinking with the just when you and I started chatting today, I noticed you're wearing the Brooklyn event shirt, which I
Yes.
love. It's one of my favourite event shirts that Maiden have ever done, and
Yes, not so bad.
as I said, and I'm wearing one too, but I'm wearing a different event shirt. I'm wearing the Dubai 2007 event shirt. So, and what I've always loved about Iron Maiden event shirts is that Eddie is participating in, well, usually destructive activities, but in the setting of scenery
Local
or
culture.
local culture. Yes, local culture. Well, he's in scenery and landmarks which reflect the local culture. And there's
So what you want to know is why is Eddie always ripping the heads off of kangaroos on the Australian tour shirts?
how did you know that? How did you know what goes on in my?
Psychic, mate. I told you, we're Taurus, but we
Oh, we
know.
are. Yes, that's right. For those that don't know, Loopy and I, our birthdays are separated by 48 hours. So
Yeah,
um,
it's mad. Absolutely mad.
I'm late April, you're early May, and as you, I think you said something interesting when I first met you. We were both wearing the same T-shirt as well. So um,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Cardinals is both wearing the green um,
Aces high.
Oasis High shirt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's weird.
so yeah, I think you kind of know what goes on this cerebral cortex sometimes. So, yes, look, I have been thinking about it with the announcement impending in the next couple of days of the tour, and we can now say, I mean, they've openly now announced they've announced that an announcement is coming on November 7 for Australia and New Zealand. It got me thinking about what the art department at Maiden Towers would be thinking about designing the new event shirts for this tour. And I was looking over some of the past event shirts from the Australian tour, and there is a very common theme that Eddie has a penchant for slaughtering our national icon, the kangaroo,
Yeah, yeah.
Skippy.
Like,
He
kangaroo. I
does.
mean, basically, due to this conversation we had the other day, that prompted me to actually get in touch with Steve and ask the question. And I will read you exactly what I wrote. I doubt if I've got a response yet. Um, Quick question for you. I have a good friend in Australia who wants to know why Aussie t-shirts always show Eddie slaughtering kangaroos. Is there an obvious reason, or is it just that Eddie can't stand kangaroos? Now I've not had a response, but that was my question to him. And I'll be perfectly honest. I would like to know if this is going to continue, um, or where we've noticed, like on the London shows, where you've got Eddie bursting out the top of the O2, um, or going back 2 years ago at the Newcastle Metro, Eddie bursting out the top of the Metro. Why isn't he bursting out the top of a venue in Australia and destroying something other than a kangaroo?
Yes. So just to give everybody a little idea, we'll go through all the tours. The 1982 Based on the Road Australian tour, Derek Riggs actually painted a picture of no Eddie in his yellow t-shirt and jeans with a cork hat, an axe, and a whole lot of kangaroos dead upside down. Now that I think was banned, so they didn't end up using that, but the image has sort of endured over the years.
Surfaced, yeah.
Service, yeah. Um,
So
1985 they sort of skipped that theme, but 2008, the 2008 tour, you've got Eddie in the Australian desert in Uluru, slaughtering kangaroos again. And in 2011, he's got a didgeridoo, which is an instrument that the indigenous Aborigines use, and he's about to clobber a certain marsupial, a certain mammal. Um, it,
couldn't they have been a bit more original? Like stick the didgeridoo up the fucking
yeah,
thing's arse and
and it got
blow it
me.
up.
Yeah, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking. As I have seen the band in London, I've seen the band in New York, and both those cities get event specific shirts. And it got me thinking that we've never here in Australia had a city-specific event shirt, and uh, it sort of prompted me to raise this question with you. That I mean, you've got a city like Sydney, which really is one of the sort of prominent cities, global cities, and yet a city like that has never actually had a specific event shirt. And you've got so much to play with there. You've got the Opera House, you've
Well,
got
again,
the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Can you imagine Eddie creating havoc on
it,
Sydney Harbour?
they wouldn't do anything about the Opera House quite simply because they're not playing there, or it's unlikely that they will play there. So that sort of rules that out, really.
But
Whereas
my
the bridge,
yeah,
yeah,
but
the bridge,
my rebuttal to that though is that in the previous New York shirts, Eddie has been the Statue of Liberty, and he's wreaked havoc on the Brooklyn Bridge, and in London, I believe he was the Queen's Guard at one point as well, wasn't he? In 2008. So, as with Paris, he's ruined the Eiffel Tower. I would love to see a city specific Australian shirt, and even though I'm from Melbourne, even though I think Melbourne's the greatest city in the world, I don't think we warrant necessarily a shirt. But Sydney, on the other hand, and God, I'm loath to say this, but because Melbourne and Sydney don't sort of really like each other, but Sydney has some very world famous iconic landmarks. I would love to see the Maiden Art Department do something like that rather than killing kangaroos.
you know what they're going to do, though, don't you?
No, they're
Like,
going to
just to
kill
go,
kangaroos.
yeah. But what they're going to do is use kangaroos to smash the bridge.
Yeah. Well, anyway, look, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Let's hope someone from the art department's listening to this and
Yeah, who
feeds
knows? Who
feeds it
knows?
back feeds it back to the powers that be. And but
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Again, you know, we welcome your comments down below.
Yeah, especially any of the Australians that watch this show, and there are a few. But I'm actually more interested in people, non Australians who have been here before for holiday, who have seen the sights. What do you think the art department could do with this coming Australian tour? What
Oh yeah,
what
yeah, good idea.
concepts? Yeah, for those of you who have travelled here, have been here. Yes, we've got kangaroos, we've got snakes, we've got awfully dangerous spiders, we've got 20-foot great white sharks, but it's not just about dangerous wildlife. There are other things in this country. What do you think, or would you like to see the Maiden Art Department do? So comment on our Facebook page. Comment as Loopy
Yes,
likes doing on the bottom of
down
this,
below.
down below, down below. What else we got in the news, Loopy? Let's drive this home. What else we got in the news?
Before we came on here, I'm a bit of an aviation fan, and I wondered on the whereabouts of Air Force One.
Ah,
Now, if
yes,
anybody knows, the flight number or the flight code was TFAAK,
yes.
and she is currently with Saudi Airways, and she's still flying today.
So has she got the Saudi livery?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
She looks fantastic. I
Is she
mean, it does look
doing
fantastic.
is she doing international flights or is it domestic within
No,
Saudi?
it's all domestic. It's all domestic within Saudi. It's sort of Medina to Jeddah and return, and then it'll go off somewhere else. But it is all within Saudi, which I mean, okay, Saudi's a big place, but 747,
Hmm.
do they fill them up?
Before they hired that aircraft, did it originally belong to Saudi Airways?
No,
Before?
no, she's with Icelandic. Is it Icelandic? Atlantic Airways.
Yeah.
Atlantic, something like that. But yes, I mean, I think she's still on lease now. I think she's still
Wow.
on lease.
Yeah. Well,
But
Loopy and I are both aviation fans. At some point, I really do want to do an entire show about Air Force One, all
yes, yes,
three
yes,
versions
yes,
of it, and hopefully get someone on to talk about that. Because as I said, we're both aviation nuts. Um,
that would be good.
that would be
In
good.
fact, a little known fact. Now, over the last couple of years, I've been watching a thing, and I will give them a quick plug because these guys are brilliant. There's a page on Facebook called Big Jet TV,
Mm.
and if you're an aviation fan and you want to see live streaming, that is the place to go. Big Jet TV. Um, Now, I think I've got a website which is bigjet.tv. You go there, find them on Facebook, become a supporter. It costs you, it's about £4 a month. And for that £4 a month, you get at least 2 live streams a week, probably 2 to 3 hours at a time. And they go all over the world,
Mm.
all over the world. And it is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, to me, it's just one of the best things ever.
Mm.
And it turns out that these two guys that started it, Jerry and Johnny, um, it was Johnny who is no longer there, but he was the one that actually turned around and said that what actually got him into doing it was seeing people film Ed Force One landing in the UK,
Oh wow,
probably at Stansted, I would have thought.
wow,
I don't think he ever landed at Heathrow, but it was. I mean, he saw a video of someone filming Ed Force One, and that's what actually got him into doing the live streaming.
wow. It's incredible.
And yeah, I mean, you look at it and you go, well, if you're going to start somewhere,
You
why
know,
not?
you raise an interesting point. I've actually have spoken over the years to a few Maiden fans who have developed an interest in aviation by being exposed to Ed Force One and going watching Ed Force One because they go to the airport, they see Ed Force One, and all of a sudden a week later they're back plane spotting and watching other planes. So it's good.
It's the knock-on effect. It is a
It's a
knock-on
knock-on
effect.
effect.
I mean, I've been in aviation since I was a kid. I mean, my dad took me to my first air show, 1963, so I was 6,
Wow.
not knowing much about it, but watching Spitfires fly over
Mm,
Biggin Hill,
mm,
things like that. And then, of course, like you got like the big loud jets, and it was like wow. So yeah, I mean, I can go back almost 60 years just watching aircraft to the
yeah.
point where now, I mean, I've got my own aviation page. I've got my own YouTube page where if I get the chance to film aircraft, that's what I do. I'll sit them in the camera and I'll film something and I'll upload it to YouTube. But what I also found was that because on my Facebook page, I have a lot of maiden contacts and a lot of maiden friends, and I'm amazed at how many of them have all got little videos or photos that they send me because they're all AV geeks. It's like I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought I was I thought I was on my own. I thought I was the only sort of ex-maiden sort of crew member, also stroke fan that is into AV, and turns out I'm not by
No.
far.
No. Look, it is a fascinating hobby, and it's one of those sort of areas of interest which is so diverse and has
Mm.
something for everybody. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
if
if anybody's actually interested, my Facebook page is Loopy's Aviation Group. Go
it's
check it
and
out.
it's a
Yeah,
terrific group. I love it. I love it.
come and join me. Come and join me.
Yeah. All right. Look, to finish off, Loop, I want to sort of. I want to end it on a negative note, but there's been a lot of hysteria the last few days in the news and the tabloids about the
Mm.
personal life of Mr.
A
Bruce
certain
Dickinson.
member,
Yeah,
a certain member of the band. Yeah.
Bruce Dickinson, and For those who still don't know, it's come out in the news now that Bruce has separated from his wife of 29 years, Patty, is living with his new partner, a lady in Paris, and the tabloids are out in force spreading misinformation and quite cheap, not just misinformation, but cheap misinformation. And as unfortunately is today's world, the small-minded people that are drawn to that sort of gutter quality gossip are out in force on social media, online, with quite uncharitable troll like comments. My take is, look, I don't really care. I just don't care. I'm an Iron Maiden fan. I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of the band. And obviously I'm a collector. I'm a fan of the merchandise. I couldn't care less what the guys do in their personal life. Okay, at the end of the day, as we were saying in the last episode, they're just normal people like you and I. They get up in the morning, they go to the bathroom, they then go grocery shopping, get on with their daily lives. I don't care.
Yeah,
In the
absolutely.
in the article, they called him Brian Dickinson. Now you would think that you'd do your research there. Number one, they said that he's looking at a £90 million divorce settlement. As far as I know, there's no divorce plans, and Bruce has gone on record saying his fortune is nowhere near that anyway. And his partner is purported to be,
Yeah, I think that there might have been a couple of zeros added there.
of
If
course,
anything,
again,
it's just ridiculous.
forced sensationalism, and it's purported that his partner is 15 to 20 years younger than him, which is actually a lie. The age difference is a lot closer. So don't believe what you read. Don't believe what you
Yeah,
read. Your
but
take, Luke.
I totally understand and totally agree with what you're saying. Um, I can't add much more, but what I will add is how many more times have we got to bring this up? As you said, Bruce, with any member of the band, it doesn't matter who they are, deserve respect. They deserve to have us out of their lives. Yes, okay, he's a public figure. We understand that. Don't get me wrong, but leave him alone. At the end of the day, it's nothing to do with you, Kaz. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with absolutely anybody. Leave the guy alone.
Mm.
If it was me and you in the same boat, yeah, we'd support each other. But for fuck's sake, how many more times have we got to say it?
Yeah, and the other
He's his own man.
yeah, the
And
other
as you said, he gets up in the morning. He has a fucking shit the same as everybody else does. He's human.
that's right. That's right. And
It's nothing to do with anybody else.
the other point
And
that I
fucking,
do
as
want
you
to
said,
make,
the tabloids have got hold of it
it is, and the other,
and
sorry,
bent it just bent it out of proportion,
yeah,
as usual.
the other point that I do want to make is that in his book that he's written, What Does This Button Do? Bruce has gone on record saying that he deliberately omitted or left out details about his family life, about his wife and his children, because he doesn't feel that other people's personal lives should be, for all the world to see. Uh,
Yeah.
so,
So surely
if,
that should work the other way.
well, we see what they did to Princess Diana, sort of all those years ago, and countless other people, and I mean, this is obviously on a much, much, much lower level, sort of scale, and there has been a really good discussion about this actually on the Iron Maiden fan club forum, and I think there's some quite sensible people saying sensible things about just about respecting. privacy and staying out of it. You know,
Exactly,
we,
exactly. You know, at the end of the day, he's not a criminal. You know, so leave the fucker alone.
he's a wonderful human being. He's actually a gentleman. He's very pleasant to speak with, and his achievements are, well, we don't need to go through them. There's no point. We know them, but they're very admirable. We have a tour announcement in a couple of days, and that's the only thing that matters at the moment. So
don't you go getting out excited.
no, no. Look, I'm more interested in some of the, as we said in the last episode, I'm more interested in some of the exotic places they're going to play. The rumors of the Philippines. They've never played in Manila. The rumors of Dubai and Israel, and there's word about Tel Aviv.
Navy, Gothenburg,
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah,
Hamburg, Paris. Again,
yeah.
all rumours, but you know, you and I know that our sources are pretty good. So
And all very beautiful cities. Great.
yes,
That's it.
indeed.
Good, mate. That
Right.
and that wraps episode 8. So we'll catch up with you soon. I just traced the number 8 like this.
So mine's just looks like a wiggle.
All right, mate. We'll take
Good one.
care. Take care.
Good
We'll
one.
see you all for episode 9. Look after
Excellent.
yourselves. Hug the ones you love, and stay safe.
And don't forget, website is still not up. So if anybody needs a copy of the book, please go to eBay and buy it now. It is available on eBay.
Loopy World, the Iron Maiden years on eBay.
Yeah.
Get it, and educate
You,
yourself.
you'll learn. You'll learn the full story about the Soundhouse tapes all on there.
Yes, that's true. This is true. This is very true. God bless. Take care.
Thank you.